Hello everyone, it's Joy here, ready and willing to read more poetry to you. So the theme of today's poems is humour. So I hope some of these poems that have been chosen make you smile, maybe make you laugh. So the first one is about a choir. The person is a lady probably, and it's called The Alto's Lament. And she feels that she's very overlooked in the choir. Being an alto, she doesn't really have a high profile place like other singers do because she's an alto. It's called The Alto's Lament by an unknown poet, Bob the Organist. Now, the reason he's called Bob the Organist, they've just labelled the poem as being by him, is it was found, this poem, by the side of a music organ in a church, and they never did find out who'd written it. It was just had Bob at the bottom, and it was by the organ, so a mystery there. Off we go. It's tough to be an alto when you're singing in the choir. The sopranos get the twiddly bits that people all admire. The basses boom like loud trombones, the tenors shout with glee. But the alto part is on 2 notes, or if you're lucky, 3. And when we sing an anthem and we lift our hearts in praises, the men get all the juicy bits and telling little phrases. Of course, the trebles sing the tune. They always come off best. The altos only get 3 notes and 22 bars rest. We practice very hard each week from hymn book and the psalter. But when the conductor looks at us, our voices start to falter. Too high, too low, too fast. You held that note too long. It doesn't matter what we do, it's certain to be wrong. Oh, shed a tear for altos, they're the martyrs and they know. In the ranks of choral singers, they're considered very low. They're also very humble that a lot of folk forget 'em. How they'd love to be sopranos, but their vocal cords won't let them. And when the final trumpet sounds and we are wafted higher, sopranos, basses, tenors, they'll be in the heavenly choir, while they sing Alleluia to celestial flats and sharps. The altos will be occupied with polishing the harps. Hope you enjoyed that. And we move on to a John Betjeman poem. It's called The Diary of a Church Mouse. Here, among long discarded cassocks, damp stools and half-split open hassocks, here where the vicar never looks, I nibble through the old service books. Lean and alone I spend my days behind this Church of England bays. I share my dark forgotten room with 2 oil lamps and half a broom. The cleaner never bothers me, so here I eat my frugal tea. My bread is sawdust mixed with straw. My jam is polish for the floor. Christmas and Easter may be feasts for congregations and for priests, and so may Whitsun. All the same, they do not fill my meagre frame. For me, the only feast at all is autumn's harvest festival, when I can satisfy my want with ears of corn around the font. I climb the eagle's brazen head to burrow through a loaf of bread. I scramble up the pulpit stair and gnaw the marrows hanging there. It is enjoyable to taste these items before they go to waste. But how annoying when one finds that other mice with pagan minds come into church my food to share, who have no proper business there. 2 field mice who have no desire to be baptised invade the choir. A large and most unfriendly rat comes in to see what we are at. He says he thinks there is no God, and yet he comes, it's rather odd. This year he stole a sheaf of wheat. It screened our special preacher's seat. and prosperous mice from fields away come in to hear the organ play, and under cover of its notes ate through the altar's sheaf of oats. A low church mice who thinks that I am too papistical and high, yet somehow doesn't think it's wrong to munch through harvest evensong, while I, who starve the whole year through, must share my food with rodents who, except at this time of the year, not once inside the church appear. Within the human world I know such goings-on could not be so, for human beings only do what their religion tells them to. They read the Bible every day, and always night and morning pray, and just like me, the good church mouse, worship each week in God's own house. But all the same, it's strange to me how very full the church can be, with people I don't see at all, except at Harvest Festival. So this next poem is a famous one. I'm pretty sure you'll have heard of it, and it's by Hilaire Belloc. Now, Hilaire Belloc was the son of a French father and an English mother, and his life is a very interesting one. But I was so surprised when I read this about him that in the end he was the Liberal MP for Salford in the 1906 election. And I didn't know about that. I just knew him as a poet who told cautionary tales. So this one, the most famous, I think, of all the ones he wrote, it's a narrative poem. He's telling a story, but it's teaching a lesson at the same time with some humour. Matilda, who told lies and was burned to death. Matilda told such dreadful lies, it made one gasp and stretch one's eyes. Her aunt, who from her earliest youth had kept a strict regard for truth, attempted to believe Matilda. The effort very nearly killed her, and would have done so had not she discovered this infirmity. For once, towards the close of day, Matilda, growing tired of play and finding she was left alone, went tiptoe to the telephone and summoned the immediate aid of London's noble fire brigade. Within an hour, the gallant band were pouring in on every hand, from Putney, Hackney Downs and Bow, with courage high and hearts aglow. They galloped, roaring through the town. Matilda's house is burning down. Inspired by British cheers and loud, proceeding from the frenzied crowd, they ran their ladders through a score of windows on the ballroom floor, and took particular pains to souse the pictures up and down the house, until Matilda's aunt succeeded in showing them they were not needed. And even then she had to pay to get the men to go away. It happened that a few weeks later, her aunt was off to the theatre to see that interesting play, The Second Mrs. Tanqueray. She had refused to take her niece to hear this entertaining piece, a deprivation just and wise to punish her for telling lies. That night a fire did break out. You should have heard Matilda shout. You should have heard her scream and bawl and throw the window up and call to people passing in the street. The rapidly increasing heat encouraging her to obtain their confidence. But all in vain, for every time she shouted, "Fire!" they only answered, "Little liar." And therefore, when her aunt returned, Matilda and the house were burned. A cautionary tale indeed. That's it for me for today. I have more humorous poems to read again to you next time. And thank you for listening, and goodbye from Joy.